We do have live animals today, and I want to make sure everyone gets a good look, so then I'll be able to walk up these paths, and everyone will get a good view, okay? Make sense? Awesome. We do have a couple critters you can touch today. Yes, we do. All right. No. So you guys ready? Okay. So first off, the first thing I have to do, because it's the polite thing to do, is introduce myself, right? I should do that? All right. So, my name is Mike Clough, and I came up today from the Southern Vermont Natural History Museum. We're down in West Marlborough, Vermont. Not too far away. Not too awful, about a little over an hour away. And for the most part, what we have at our museum is an old school natural history collection. Now, what that means, kiddos, is we have a lot of dead stuff. Yeah. We actually have the largest collection of native birds and mammals in Vermont. We have over 250 species in this historic taxidermy collection that are all animals you can find in the northeastern United States. The only people in New England that have more native birds and mammals than we do are Yale and Harvard, and they're big fancy colleges. They should have more than us. But not everybody loves the Dead Animal Museum. I'll get you, don't worry. Not everybody loves that Dead Animal Museum, so over the years we've added different exhibits. We've got a cool rock and mineral collection. Probably the most popular thing though at the museum are our live animals. We have a whole bunch of live animals, and just like the dead ones, almost all those animals are animals you can find right here in the Northeast. Now, a lot of times, we'll take those animals out to libraries and schools and fairs and all kinds of different things, and that's what we're doing today. I brought you some live animals today. Yay. But we're doing kind of a different program. Usually, when we're doing our programs, we're doing science. It's all science stuff. And every summer, we make up a new program for the Department of Libraries. Are any of you guys doing the summer reading program? Are any of you guys doing the summer reading program? You know there's fun and prizes as part of the summer reading program. You might have missed it this year. I'm not sure. We'll ask the librarians after. But next year, make sure to get in on that. And every year they have a theme. So we try to make a program that'll fit the theme. And last year I was like, okay, librarians, what's next year's theme? What special program will we invent? And they said, oh, it's going to be great. You're going to love it. It's Universe of Stories. And I was like, okay, all right, that sounds cool. What does that mean? What are we going to do? And they were like, space. And I was like, oh no, we don't have any space stuff at our museum. We don't have live animals at the museum that are from outer space. And the librarians always want the live animals. So I was like, what are we going to do? Aha, then I had this idea. We'll take Universe of Stories, we'll crumple up the universe, throw it away, and take the story part. So we'll do a program with stories. Stories about animals. Now I see we got a bunch of hands up, and yes, questions are going to be part of it today. Don't you worry. One thing I want to point out though, and I'm going to get your questions right now, guys, but when we're doing the stories, can you guys hold the questions during the stories? And then after the stories are done, when we're just looking at the live animal, you guys have questions, ask them, all right? Now, there were 3 hands up here a second ago. Any of those stories we need? Yeah. Or questions?
So one time, I was at and there was a bat in our kitchen. And the last time when I was with my dad, I was at my grandma's too, but it was a different grandma's. There was a bat on our porch.
Really? Now that sounded like a story to me. Good job. You got the idea down. But ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, let's try to keep our stories to a minimum, okay? I'll do 4, probably 4, and then you guys keep it to questions until the end, okay? Yes?
Are those dead animals?
Are those dead animals? Yeah, these are dead animals, but you're going to meet live animals.
Did they used to be alive?
Yes, they did. Yeah, we don't know what happened to this one. Someone gave us this coyote fur fairly recently. And this owl and this raven were both hit by cars. Yeah, they both got hit by cars and died, and that's where we got the wings. Yes?
What's that?
You'll find out. Yes. All right, should we get started? Is it time to start? All right. So, the stories. We don't get to do stories very much, so I was kind of excited to get to do stories because I don't know if you guys know this, but stories are a big part of what it is for us to be humans. Did you know that? Way back before there was such a thing as movies or television, before there were even books, before there was even school, there were stories. That's how we learned stuff. You know, we still had to learn things, and a lot of times we'd teach each other things by telling stories. Maybe, though, we'd use stories just for entertainment, right? You're sitting around the fire all night, not much to do. You can't check your messages because there's no such thing as messages. Tell stories. Maybe there'd be something we could learn. Maybe it would just be fun. Maybe we'd tell stories to explain how we thought the world worked. Like that big shiny hot thing up in the sky. How does it do it? Oh, I know. There must be some dude riding it, and he's got a couple golden horses. And he rides it through the sky every day. Greek mythology, right? Now, we, of course, now we have science to explain those kind of things. But do we still have stories? Yeah. Sure. TV is stories, right? Movies are stories. You guys have school coming up pretty soon. Are you going to see some friends that you haven't seen all summer? Yeah. Are you going to tell them what happened over summer vacation? Yeah. That's a story. You yourselves can tell stories. I just want to see Phoenix. Is it time to meet the first animal? Yeah. I see we've got these hands up again. Are these questions? I just want to see. Question, what is it? Well, this is kind of a story. Well, let's hold off until the end then, okay? Let's hold off on the story. Go. What's in there? An animal that you will get to meet if we get to start. Can we start? All right. Here's our first animal. All right, hold on. Hold on, guys. So I see some of you seem a little nervous. Can I quickly tell you something about this spider? Okay. Now, who's in charge of these kids? Do you guys have like a quiet signal or anything? Oh, shh. Nah, that's not going to work. Okay. All right. So they're threatening to blow a whistle. Okay, let's not do that. Okay, don't you blow a whistle either. So, when you guys figured out there was a tarantula coming, a bunch of you got a little nervous. Now, part of that is because we don't really know that much about tarantulas. A lot of you guys probably think this animal's dangerous, right? Yeah. Do you know if for some reason she bit me, her venom is very weak. It would be like getting stung by a bee. Now, would that hurt? No. Yeah, sure, getting stung by a bee hurts. Would I have to go to the hospital? No. What I'd probably do is go, ow, and drop her. And you know, a tarantula that lives on the ground, like this rose hair tarantula, they're very delicate animals. If I dropped her onto this hard floor, she would die. If I dropped her a foot onto this hard floor, she'd probably die. Now, she can barely see her own toes. So you guys out there, she's not eyeballing you going, which one am I going to get? Because she can't see you. You're not even, as far as she knows, you're not even there. So do you think she wants to jump? No, that would be like jumping off a cliff in the dark, right? She has no idea what's going on out here. And she's very delicate. Can we hold her? We're not going to let you hold her because she's very delicate. And we don't want you guys to accidentally hurt her. Now, this spider is from South America, but probably the most famous spider, the spider that gets all the best stories, the spider who actually, folks, in parts of West Africa, they call stories spider stories. Because Anansi the spider brought stories to the world. No. Do you guys want to do the stories or no? Tough. We have to do them. Settle down. We're going to do the stories. Give it a chance. All right. So Anansi the spider lived way off in Africa. And Anansi was a trickster. He was a prankster. We don't have a lot of tricksters in our stories. And when we do, they're usually bad guys. But all over the world, back in the day, there were tricksters, pranksters. And sometimes they were foolish. And sometimes they were lazy and selfish. But a lot of times, they were also heroes. Yeah. And Anansi was like that. Bringing stories to the world is one of the heroic things he did. This is not one of those stories. That story's long. It has lots of names I can't pronounce very well. This story is more of just Anansi being Anansi. And it started on a hot, hot day. Anansi was walking through the forest. It was cool in the forest. He was just going for a walk, and he came down this trail he'd never walked before. And he saw in the middle of the trail, what is that? It was very strange. It was this colorful, sparkly rock, and it was covered with this weird, fluffy, spiky kind of moss, and he just kind of stared at it. And you guys ever talk to yourself when you see something weird like that? Yeah. That's what Anansi did. He looked down at that rock and he went, that's a strange moss-covered rock. And boom, down on the floor went Anansi, sound asleep. Sometime later, he woke up. What just happened? What? He looked around and tried to figure it out. Okay, I was walking down the trail. I saw that thing, and I went, my, what a strange moss-covered rock. Boom, down he went again. Sound asleep. When Anansi woke up the second time, though, he had a big smile on his face. He had made a discovery, and he knew there was some way he could use this strange magical rock. Now, the next morning, it was a hot day again. Anansi went out around town, just kind of looking around, and eventually he came to Elephant's house. Now, Elephant had been working in the garden, and he was hot. He was sweaty. He was taking a rest on his porch, and next to him was a huge pile of cantaloupe that Elephant had taken out of his garden. Anansi loved cantaloupe, but he was too lazy to have a garden of his own. He could never remember to water it. It was just too much work. It was too hard for him. And everybody in town knew it, so they never wanted to share with Anansi. So instead of asking Elephant for some cantaloupe, Anansi said, "Good morning, Elephant. How are you today?" And Elephant said, "Why, I'm fine, Anansi. How are you today?" "Well, I was thinking it's going to be another hot one, and I would go for a walk in the forest. Would you like to join me in the cool forest?" And Elephant said, "Why, thank you, Anansi. I'd love to go for a walk with you." And into the woods they went. And Anansi led Elephant through the forest until they came to that certain path, in that certain spot on that certain path with that strange moss-covered rock. And Anansi said, "Elephant, what do you make of that? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen." And Elephant said, "You're right, Anansi. What a strange moss-covered rock." Boom, down went Elephant, sound asleep. Quick as a cat, Anansi raced back to town, right straight to Elephant's house. He gathered up all the cantaloupe, and he brought them back to his house and hid them. Elephant woke up sometime later, very confused, and when he went home, his cantaloupe were gone. The next day, Anansi was out in town again, and there was Zebra. Zebra had found a huge bunch of ripe bananas, and she was happily eating one of them. And Anansi said, "Good morning, Zebra. Boy, it's awful hot, don't you think?" And Zebra said, "Oh, yes, Anansi, it's very hot. Would you like to go for a walk with me in the nice, cool forest?" And Zebra said, "Why, Anansi, how nice of you to invite me." And into the woods they went. And Anansi led Zebra through the forest to that certain path in that certain spot. And he said, "My goodness, what is that?" And Zebra said, "Oh, why, that is a strange moss-covered rock." And bam, down she went, sound asleep. Anansi raced back to her house, gathered up that huge bunch of bananas, and brought them home to his house. Day after day, Anansi did the same thing. "Hey, monkey, want to go for a walk? How about you, hippo? Giraffe, come on down." And the animals in the forest were so confused. Someone was stealing everyone's food. But one animal was not. Little bush deer, who hides in the woods all day long. She had seen what Anansi was doing, and she thought maybe it was time for Anansi to have a trick played on him. So she went deep into the forest and she gathered up all the ripest, juiciest, best mangoes she could find. Have you guys ever had a mango? Oh, they're so good, and Anansi loved mangoes. So the next morning, as he was wandering around town and came to little bush deer's house and saw that huge basket of mangoes, oh, he knew who was going for a walk with him that day. Little bush deer, it's so nice to see you around town. Would you like to go for a walk in the woods with me? It's going to be hot. The forest is cool and nice. And little bush deer said, why, thank you, Anansi. I would love to go for a walk with you. And into the woods they went. And Anansi led little bush deer through the forest. And they came to that certain path, in that certain spot on that certain path. And Anansi said, little bush deer, what is that? And little bush deer said, oh, Anansi, that's a flower. No, not the flower, little bush deer. Right there in the path. What do you make of that? And little bush deer looked at the path and said, oh my, I have never seen the sunlight fall on the forest floor quite like that, Anansi. Anansi, what? Not the sun, not the flowers, that right there in the trail. Little bush deer went, Anansi, I'm sorry, I don't know. What do you want me to see? What are you trying to show me? And Anansi said, the strange moss-covered rock. Bam, down went Anansi, sound asleep. Little bush deer hurried back to town. She gathered up all the animals in the town and said, let's go to Anansi's house. Sometime later, Anansi woke up. He went back to his house, and all of the stolen food was gone. And Anansi knew his game with the strange moss-covered rock was done. So you don't have to do that, but thank you. You knew the story was over. So Anansi is kind of an unusual spider character because he's a trickster. Other cultures around the world, spiders were guardians or they were teachers. All kinds of people thought that we learned how to weave from a spider. Why do you think that is? Why would spiders be weavers?
Because they
Yeah.
that's
You like that? So, okay, there you go. The weaver thing comes from a spider's web. Now, a tarantula does not build a big web like a Charlotte's web, but she does make silk. And when I bring her around again, look at her butt. She has, it looks like two little fingers back there. Those are her spinnerets. On the back side, just like everybody else, yeah. And those spinnerets are where she makes her silk. And she'll mostly use that as kind of like carpeting or bedding. She'll use it to wrap her eggs to protect her kids. But she doesn't really make a big web. Some spiders use their silk to make trip lines. Some spiders use their silk to make little houses by rolling up leaves. Have you guys ever seen that?
No.
Yeah. There's all kinds of neat stuff they can do with that. Now, the tarantula is a big spider. And we do have tarantulas. I'll come to you guys. Don't worry, I'll come to you. Where's the head? Yeah, the purple end is the head. Yeah. She's called a rose hair tarantula because of that purple. It's actually you want to learn this fancy name for a spider's head? A cephalothorax. Can you guys say that one? Nice, you guys got it. You learned it already? Cool. I'm coming. How many legs does a spider have? 8. Wait a minute. Somebody count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10?
This spider has 10 legs.
But wait. The two little short ones on the front of her face aren't technically legs.
Their fangs?
They're called her palps or pedipalps. They work kind of like antennas on an insect, sort of. But that's also how we can tell a boy spider apart from a girl spider. If the ends of those little short legs look like all their other legs, then it's a girl.
Can we pet?
No, we're not going to pet her. She's too delicate.
How come
If they look different, if it looks like that spider has pom-poms or boxing gloves on those palps, then it's a boy. So which is this? No, this is a girl. Hey, can you let go of my legs, buddy?
Can we touch it?
This one's a girl. Yeah. All right. Now, I know some of you guys are a little nervous about this tarantula. Why don't we get something else out? Wait, stop! Oh my gosh, that was so close. Yeah, I didn't tell you guys. Oh, whew, that was a close one. I have this personal rule. I always have to say no to chanting. So if you chant, I have to say no. Because it's a rule. So whew, I stopped you in time. Good. Don't chant. Definitely don't chant or I have to say no. All right, you guys ready? Oh, you're going to make it so I can't do it. All right. Whew, that was a close one. Now, I know a bunch of you wanted to touch something. We aren't going to be able to touch the birds, but you want to see something you can touch? Yeah. Okay. All right. And you, my friend, please find a place where you're comfortable. I don't want to accidentally step on you, okay? Find a place where you're comfortable. So the next animal we're going to see is a little bigger. And it is something you can touch, but we're going to be careful touching him. You don't have to. Don't worry. I wouldn't bring a bunny. The bunnies are the animals we have at the museum that make me bleed the most of anything. But we can put a bunny in this story. Are you guys all right? Okay. Okay. So let me tell you what we've got here. Right here, we have a snapping turtle. And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys meet a snapping turtle out in the world, if you meet a snapping turtle out in the world, don't pick her up like this. Because that turtle is going to be pretty scared. Snapping turtles cannot hide in their shells. See his soft belly here? And that's the main reason snapping turtles don't like to come out of the water. Because when they're in the water, they can swim. They're awesome swimmers. The story is going to be about a swimming turtle. But when they do come out of the water, they can't swim away. They can't hide in their shells. So how do they protect themselves? They snap, right? They bite. And when you see a snapping turtle out of the water, you can pretty much bet that that turtle is a girl. The boys don't really come out of the water. They don't have to, right? Why do the girls have to come out of the water? No, actually, a snapping turtle cannot eat unless it's in the water. Oh, there you go. This guy got it. They're going to lay their eggs. Oh, that's his butt. All right. So, here is the snapping turtle story. This is actually a story. You guys might know this story already. After that question, go, kiddo. This isn't a question. This is a story. Okay, go. Ah, it is a story. Okay. Yes, ma'am. This is a story too. Captain America. Is that bucket full of water? Yes. Because snapping turtles don't like being out of the water. We figured that out because he used to always bust out of the bucket and run around inside the car. And one day we figured out to put water in it. Yeah, and he'd be happier in the water. So, here, you guys ready? Let's get started. Do you know the story about the turtle and the rabbit? Front row, stay seated, stay seated. Do you guys know this? Oh, okay. So this guy up front is talking about a different story. The tortoise and the hare. Now, the tortoise is a land turtle, right? They have feet like little elephants. Look at this guy's feet. He has swimmy feet. A turtle, and all of our Vermont turtles are freshwater turtles. And this story starts off the same as that tortoise and the hare. The turtle and the rabbit are hanging out down by the edge of the pond. And the rabbit, he's kind of being a jerk. Yeah, he's teasing the turtle. He's saying stuff like, "Turtle, you are so slow. By the time you're done with breakfast, it's dinner time." "Turtle, you're so slow. By the time you get to school, the late buses are taking kids home." just thinking he was hilarious. After a while, the turtle got a little sick of this. And the turtle's like, "You know, Rabbit, you are fast. You are a much faster runner than I am. But Rabbit, I am a fast swimmer. I am such a fast swimmer, I bet you I can swim around this pond faster than you can run around it." And the rabbit just laughed. "No way. Nothing is faster than me. I'm faster than the wind blows. I'm faster than stars fall. You're on, buddy. Let's go." Wait a minute. The rabbit was pretty smart, and he knew the turtle could be tricky. So he looked at that turtle and he said, "I'll race you, but I don't want you just holding your breath and pretending you swam around the lake. You got to poke your head up while you're swimming so I know you don't cheat." The turtle thought about it for a minute, and the turtle said, "All right, Rabbit, that's fair. We can do it that way. But you know, it's getting kind of late. Let's have our race tomorrow. I'll meet you back here first thing in the morning." And the rabbit goes, "You're on, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow." And the rabbit went off into the woods, and he told all the other animals and birds, "Tomorrow, I'm going to race the turtle. I'm going to win because I am an awesome rabbit." The turtle, and pay close attention to this part, guys. This is the secret to the whole story. Are you ready? The turtle only told his closest friends and relatives. And they talked about the race for quite a while. So the next morning comes. It's time for the race. Turtle's sitting on a rock. Rabbit's doing his stretches. Getting ready to go. And an owl or somebody comes down and is like, "On your mark, get set, go." And the turtle dives in the water. Bloop, and the rabbit takes off down the trail. And he was fast. And he's laughing. "I am so fast. There's no way that turtle's going to beat me. Where is he? Where is he?" And the rabbit looks out at the pond, and just ahead of him, a turtle head pops up. Bloop, bloop. And the rabbit goes, "Ah! How did he get ahead of me? How am I losing?" And the rabbit starts to run even faster. A big cloud of dust is coming up off his feet, and he looks out at the lake, and just ahead of him, bloop, bloop. "Ah! I'm still losing. How am I losing?" And he runs even faster. The wind is blowing so hard, leaves are coming off the trees. There's smoke coming off his feet. The birds in the sky are like, "Dude, you got to slow down." But every time he looks out the water in front of him, bloop, bloop. Ah! He's running faster than he ever ran before. Maybe faster than anything has ever run. And he comes around the last corner. You can see the finish line. "I'm going to make it. I'm going to win. I'm going to make it. I'm going to win." And out of the water comes the turtle. Bloop. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out today. Good race, Bunny, but you lost. The rabbit was so embarrassed, he didn't even stop. He just kept on running, went off into the woods. The other animals came down to congratulate. The turtle's like, "I'll show you how fast I run." The other animals came down. Yeah, I don't think you'd win a running race. There you go, buddy. The animals came down and congratulated the turtle. "Good job, pal. Good job. You won that race. Excellent." And after they left, though, something kind of interesting happened. Does anybody have a guess how the turtle really won the race? Way in the back. You got it. From all around the edges of the pond, turtles popped up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. They had taken turns poking their heads up and tricked the rabbit. That turtle did exactly what the rabbit thought he was going to do. He sank to the bottom and held his breath and waited to pretend he'd swum around the lake. Tricky turtles. Now, this snapping turtle is a good swimmer. He's a Great Lake turtle. And this is a turtle, guys, that has been in Vermont since before there was such a thing as Vermont. They've lived here for 90 million years. There were snapping turtles before there was such a thing as a T-Rex. Or a painted turtle. These guys have been here forever. Nice. Wow, that's a huge painted turtle. Do you guys have any questions about the turtle? Yes?
How old is Mike?
Me? Oh, the turtle. Okay, so the turtle. Yeah, we call the turtle Basil, and this guy's about 10 years old. And if some of you are wondering why he's not biting, let me explain that. When he was a little baby, and this is also how we know how old he is. When he was a little baby, some kids found him, and they brought him home and kept him as a pet. Now, that's against the law in Vermont. You're not supposed to do that. It's actually against the law in most states. They didn't know. They kept him for a few years. They gave him to somebody else who kept him for a couple more years, and then that guy brought him to us. So that whole time, all those people he met, all growing up, were nice to him. Snapping turtles bite because they're afraid. He thinks we're nice. If we're nice, are we scary? No. So he's not afraid, and that's why he doesn't bite. Now, I told you guys you could pet him, right? But hold on. We are still going to be safe with this because he's never tried to bite anyone before. If today is the first day he wants to bite somebody, do you want to be that somebody? No. So we're going to pet him on the back half. Stay where you are. I will come to you, okay? You don't have to if you don't want to. You want to pet him? Here you go, buddy. Shoom. Nice. Now, his claws are not sharp, but his feet are... No, you can't pet his head. But his feet are strong, you know, so watch out for those feet as they're swinging around. You want to pet him, dude? No? Okay.
Are we going to watch him swim?
Are we going to watch him swim? No, the water isn't deep enough for him to swim in there. We'd have to bring him down to the lake or something. All right, do you have a question there, kiddo?
Yeah. How big can these guys get?
Oh, how big can they get? So he is probably twice the size, of a wild 10-year-old snapping turtle. He eats all winter, they sleep. But even a wild snapping turtle could get as big as a garbage can lid, their shell. And they can weigh over 30 pounds when they're full size. This one weighs about 20 pounds. And the record breakers weighed over 70 pounds. So any of you kids weigh 70 pounds? Somebody here does. Yeah, usually though an adult snapping turtle tops out around 35 pounds. And these guys can live for 100 years.
Oh, I feel so weird.
There you go. Nice. You guys want to pet him? Yep. Yeah, I could see you guys wanted to. What's in the white box? Well, that'll be the last thing we see. No. Oh yeah, there's not enough water for him to swim in there. Captain America. Yes. That's an animal we probably won't see. He's for a different program. It's a little owl. We're probably going to have to see it. Don't worry. But first, let's see if we can get you guys to squirm again. Is anyone here a little nervous about snakes? No. A couple of us? Okay, hold on. Oh, geez, don't chant. Oh, thought we went over that. Let's see. Do you guys know this one? Oh, you don't know that one. Okay. So we're doing all this clapping stuff. Do you know what that means? Nailed it. Okay. So, I asked if anyone was nervous about snakes. A few people admitted it, which means there's a few more who aren't admitting it, probably adults. And so before we take her out, let's just talk about that for a second. They're not all girls. The snapping turtle was a boy. All right. So, why? Why do you guys think people are nervous about snakes? What's one reason? Yes, dead center.
Secret Life of Pets, the big snake and sometimes people think that that's real. Sometimes they go with
So you just jumped right straight to the biggest reason, I think. I love that. Nobody ever does that first. That's awesome. Yeah, garter snakes all the time. Yeah, we're going to come back to what you said, and we're going to cover what he said. First off, guys, do you know the difference between poisonous and venomous? It's all about who bites who. If you bite it and you get sick, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you get sick, it was venomous. You guys get it? So like you could eat cobras all day long. You could have cobra barbecue for lunch every single day. You'd be fine because cobras are not poisonous. But what if it bites you? That could be a problem, right? It's venomous. We should be aware that venomous snakes are a real thing. But did you guys know that snakes can't chew? They can't take a bite out of anything. So in order for a snake to eat something, it has to swallow it in one gulp. You've seen that, right? You guys knew that. You thought it was because they had bad manners, but no. They have to eat something in one swallow. Now, snake heads can stretch and expand in their jaws and everything. So most snakes can swallow something 4 times the size of their head. That means at Thanksgiving, each one of you guys get your own turkey. Just, boom, down it goes. Yes?
Are rattlesnakes poisonous?
No, you can eat rattlesnakes, but they are venomous. Rattlesnakes are venomous. That's our one venomous snake we have in Vermont. We have timber rattlesnakes. But like all the rest of the venomous snakes in the Northeast, rattlesnakes are vipers. And that's good because it's easy for us to recognize them. Big diamond or triangle shaped heads. The rest of our snakes, little heads, harmless. Are you guys competing for who can raise their hand the highest? No. No? Well, here, we'll let him go, then we'll come back to you. Go ahead.
I know how vampires kill owls.
Oh, really? With venom? Nailed it. All right. Did you have a question, kiddo? No? Did you have a question? We can touch the snake if we ever make our way around to actually getting the snake out. Absolutely. Yes? Story! Hold on to it till the end, all right? I feel like we keep doing that to you. Yes, sir. Did you guys know that? That's why we call them rattlesnakes, right? Hey, does the rattling on a rattlesnake's tail, does that help it catch like a rat or something it wants to eat? It's a warning signal. Wait a second. It means get back, right? Watch out. Venomous snake. You know when a cobra spreads its hood? It's the same thing. It's standing up, it's going, I am a cobra. And it's hoping we're going to go, ah, and run away.
It's a different way to show it.
Exactly. The rattlesnake's tail does the same thing. Because if that snake bites something like us or a cow or something like that, it can't eat it, can it? It's too big. There's no food for them. So why do they do it sometimes? Why do they do it? Why do you think venomous snakes sometimes bite things too big to swallow? Why do you think? All right, well then hold on to it. All right, everybody, imagine this. I'm walking down the trail. Kaboom, 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 and there's a rattlesnake over there. Now, let's say she's a big rattlesnake. She's like 5 feet long, but she's still only this tall, right? So as I come down the trail, kaboom, 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 is she worried about getting stepped on? Would you be worried about getting stepped on if you were this? Yeah. So she's gonna hide. She's gonna use her camouflage. Boom. But I don't know, I'm gonna keep going. Kaboom, I'm not paying attention. Kaboom. I'm gonna get close. What's that rattlesnake do when I get too close? Rattles the tail. Bzzz, which should tell me, venomous snake, stop walking, go around, right? But maybe I got my earbuds in. I'm like rocking out. Oh, Taylor Swift, you're the best. Boom, kaboom. I can't hear the rattle. Kaboom. And I step on her. Boom. What's gonna happen then? She's gonna bite me. Now, did she sneak up on me when I wasn't paying attention and bite me when I wasn't looking? No. She was trying to warn me and I stepped on her. Bam. And she bit me. Pow. Did I earn that bite? You wanna know the coolest thing though? 40%, almost half of the rattlesnake bites in the US, no venom is injected. They're dry bites because the snake can control that. What if I go, bam, ah, you bit me, I'll show you. And then she bites me again. Do I get venom the second time? Yeah, I probably do. But really, if we can go back to what she said so we can get that animal out, the first thing you started to say, if I got it right, was how basically the snakes we see most of the time are on TV and in movies, right? Hey, have you guys ever seen a snake in a movie? Is the snake a good guy? Have you ever seen like a snake saving a princess? No. How about like, do you guys watch the Marvel movies? Did like the hero ever burst in and go, I'm here to, oh good, there's already a snake here, we're set. No. The snakes are always the scary things. They're always the bad guys. In movies. Can you guys, have you ever seen the movie The Jungle Book? Yes. Can you guys just quick show of hands? How many of you have seen the movie The Jungle Book? Really? Interesting. All right. Then here we go. Do you guys remember the snake in The Jungle Book? Ka the python? Trust in me, right? Oh, you didn't watch the movie? Okay, so you won't remember it then. You guys who saw the movie, do you remember the python? Good guy or bad guy? Bad. So, can I tell you guys what happened in the real story? Because the Jungle Book movie was based on a book that was written right here in Vermont. A book called The Jungle Book. It was written by this guy, Rudyard Kipling, down near Brattleboro. And in his story, Ka the python is not a bad guy. Now, for those of you who do not know the story, who haven't seen the movie, a little background. The story is about Mowgli, the jungle boy, a little kid who's raised by wolves. Yeah. He grows up in the wolf pack. And the wolves have a friend who helps him out, this bear called Baloo. And Baloo the bear's job is to teach the wolf cubs the law of the pack and the laws of the jungle. That's Baloo's job. Now, wolf pups grow up fast, so they pretty much learn laws of the pack, learn laws of the jungle, and they're like, see ya, Baloo, we're done with school, we're going hunting. Mowgli, the jungle boy, was a human being. He didn't grow up so fast. He had a big, giant human brain rocking around in his head, and he loved learning stuff from Baloo. So Baloo taught him the laws of the pack and the laws of the jungle, and then he taught the languages of the jungle peoples. He taught them all the cool tricks and secrets of the forest. Oh, actually, there's one language he did not teach Mowgli. He did not teach Mowgli the language of the monkeys, because the animals of the jungle did not like the monkeys. Didn't like them at all. The monkeys were foolish. The monkeys were always telling lies. The monkeys were always stealing stuff and copying everybody. And the jungle animals just did not like that. As a matter of fact, guys, they did like one of the meanest things you can do. They pretended the monkeys did not exist. If I was a monkey up in a tree throwing acorns at you guys, you were all animals of the jungle, you'd just be like, are there acorns falling on the tree? I don't know. I haven't noticed. It must be the wind. If I was a monkey going, hey, 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 you're like, do you hear something? No, I don't. Do you? Kind of awful. They didn't like those monkeys at all. The monkeys, though, were always watching the animals. They were always interested, and they were especially interested in Mowgli. A little kid raised by wolves, that's like the most interesting thing that has ever happened in the jungle. So the monkeys were always watching Mowgli. And one afternoon, Baloo the bear and Mowgli were taking a nap down by the river, and the monkeys saw their chance. They wanted a jungle boy. So they swooped down out of the trees, and they grabbed Mowgli, and they raced off through the jungle with him. And he's like, "Whoa, Baloo!" And Baloo the bear woke up. "Roar! Give me back my jungle boy!" And the monkeys all went, "Oh, Baloo's talking to us. The bear noticed us. We're awesome." But they did not bring back the jungle boy. They raced off through the jungle with Mowgli. Baloo didn't know what to do. He went to get help from Bagheera, the Black Panther. And he said, "Bagheera, we've got to go save Mowgli. The monkeys took him." Now, if you saw the movie, in the movie, the two of them go, they have a big fight with the monkeys, and they win, right? In the book, Bagheera the panther goes, "Baloo, we can't fight the monkeys. There's too many of them, and they're crazy. There's no way we're going to win. We need help. We need the one guy who knows how to fight monkeys. We need the one guy in the whole jungle the monkeys are afraid of. We need Kaa the python." So they go through the forest and they find Kaa the python. And they say, "Kaa, the monkeys took our jungle boy. Will you help us?" What would a bad guy say? No. No. You know what Kaa said? He said, "Oh yeah, let's get some monkeys." And they went off. And then it's kind of like the movie. The bear and the python come in from one end, and the monkeys all start going, "Ah, ah, ah! It's a bear, python, ah!" And the Monkey King said, "Let's get him, we'll fight." Oh, hold on. They had Mowgli there, right? They were trying to get Mowgli to teach them to make fire. And Mowgli's just like, "Dude, I was raised by wolves. I don't know how to make fire." And the monkeys are like, "Yes, you do. You're human. Make us a fire." And the Monkey King did not want to lose their little fire-making human, even though he was raised by wolves and couldn't make fire. So he had some other monkeys take him off into the back. Let's call them Steve, and Steve. So Steve, and Steve took Mowgli and they hid in the back while the rest of the monkeys went to fight Baloo and Kaa. Guess where the Black Panther was? Around the back. And when Steve, and Steve dragged Mowgli off into the dark, there was the Black Panther. And a roar, and a fight. And the panther saved Mowgli from the monkeys. That must have been awful though, right? After the fight was over, Baloo and Kaa have left. The monkeys are all like high-fiving each other. "We won, we won." And then the Monkey King goes, "Hey, Steve, bring out the jungle boy." Steve, where's the jungle boy, Steve? You had one job, man. That must have been crazy. Yeah. But anyway, that actual story, if you guys have never read the real Jungle Book, grown-ups included, it's awesome. I wasn't going to tell that story because I just can't do it justice, so I just did it totally wrong instead. And really, Kipling's stuff is really cool. He had a lot of kind of good guy snakes. There's a book called Rikki Tikki Tavi. Do you guys ever hear of that? And there's a movie version of that too. And in that, it's about a mongoose who fights cobras. And the cobras are pretty much the bad guys. But do you know why they're trying to fight the people and the mongoose? Because they're afraid the mongoose is going to eat their babies. If your folks thought some mongoose was going to try to eat you, would they fight? Yeah, I hope so, right? Now, I know a bunch of you want to pet this snake, so I'm going to bring her around. She is not a python. She's a corn snake. She's an American snake. So you look at her little head, you know she's harmless. No, she doesn't bite. And you know what? Even if she did bite, like let's say she decides today I'm going to bite the guy, and she bites me right in the ear. Bam! I'd just have a big funny looking earring. You know, that would be it. We'd pull her off. Maybe there'd be a little blood. She has little teeny tiny sharp teeth. But if you've ever been scratched by a cat, you were hurt worse than this snake is able to hurt you. You see this scratch on my arm right here? A bunny rabbit did that.
Bunny?
Yeah, bunnies make me bleed more than anything. And she could not do that much damage. So, nothing to worry about. And again, this snake's never tried to bite anybody before. If you are a little nervous, I can take the head end and I'll put it over here, and you can pet the back end.
Why is there a pattern on the stomach?
Why is there a pattern on her stomach? A lot of people think that if the snake flips over, that pattern is so different, it might startle somebody. You know, like a hawk is trying to eat her and she flips around, the hawk might go, whoa, wait a minute, what have I got a hold of here? And that might give her a chance to escape. We have a couple snakes like that in Vermont, little guys like ringneck snakes and red belly snakes that have brightly colored stomachs. Yeah, if you're gentle. There you go. So this snake was an abandoned pet. Someone abandoned her in a parking lot. She went to a reptile rescue, and then they brought her to us. I'm coming to you guys. You don't have to come to me. Who'd I miss? How'd I miss you? I'll come back. Oh, here's the head out of the way. There you go. So you guys tell me, does she feel more like a bicycle tire or a basketball? Bicycle? What do you think? Bicycle or basketball? You don't have to. Yeah? Oh, it would be a good example for the kids. Oh, good job. That wasn't so bad. Yeah? Yes. The next animal. A little owl that's not part of this program. I just couldn't leave her out in the car today. It was too hot. You sure can? Good job. Imagine someone was petting you in the face and do it the same way. All right, why are you guys here? Go sit back down. Sit, 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 sit. I will come to you. Oh, here. There you go. Good job. Yep, here it is. Yeah, good job, kiddo. Yeah. Here you go. Do some snakes have, yeah, some snakes have red tongues or black tongues. There's probably some blue-tongued snakes out there. Kind of like a basketball, don't you think? Here you go. Good example. All right. All right. Who did I miss? Here you go, buddy. All right. No. No, all right. Did I miss you? How did I miss you twice? There you go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys ready for the last animal? All right. He just wants to pet her again. Hold on. I've been handcuffed by a snake. Well, if you have a pet snake at home, you should hold it, because then it won't be afraid. That's a good idea. All right, kiddos, you ready?
Hallie, no paint.
Can I ask, why do you guys all think it's an owl? Because I have a glove. An owl, an owl, an owl. Bald eagle. That would be one grouchy bald eagle if we shoved her into that box. Let's find out. All right. I'll tell you. I need you guys. Everybody does it, right? Yeah. So I need you guys to calm down a little bit. Okay? Just calm down a little bit. We don't want to scare her, right? And I'll answer all those questions you were all just shouting at me. I'll see if I can get all of them. First off, this is a red-tailed hawk. Yes, she did just poop. They do that. This particular bird got hit by a car, so you'll notice her wing is a little weird. She can't fly anymore. That's why we have her. red-tailed hawks are only found in North America. So all of our red-tailed hawk stories are Native American stories. And there's a really cool one about how they got their red tail, but it's kind of bloody and it's really long. I don't think you guys are going to be able to handle it. So, we're going to do a different one. And this story, I think, is just some guy made this story up. But it's a story from the long ago times. Long ago, when the world was very, very different than it was today. As a matter of fact, guys, it was so long ago, the animals were just starting to figure out who their leaders were going to be. And the birds noticed they didn't have a leader. And the birds decided that, you know, guys, we need a leader. We need a king or a queen or something. So they called a huge meeting. All the birds of the world came together to decide who their leader would be. And they talked for a long time. And some birds had good ideas. Like the ostrich thought they should have a foot race. The fastest running bird should be the leader. And the rest of the birds were like, no, that's terrible. And the penguin was like, well, what about swimming, right? Whichever bird can hold their breath the longest. I think that would be a good way to choose a leader. And the other bird's like, no, we're not going to do that. And then somebody said, what about flying? And the penguin was like, no, we're not going to. And everybody else was like, yeah, flying, that's a great idea. And what they decided was the bird who could fly the highest would be the bird who would be their leader. And I know, the penguins were super unhappy with that. The ostriches were like, forget it, we're going home. We're not going to play your games. But all the rest of the birds, pretty much all the rest of the birds, gathered together the next morning, all ready to see who could fly the highest. Now, can you guys imagine that? Imagine all the birds you can think of. The beautiful birds, the big birds, the little birds, the sparkling hummingbirds, and the colorful roosters. I mean, everybody was there. And as the sun rose, all those birds flew up into the sky. Now, some of them didn't get very far, right? The turkeys didn't get real far. The chickens bailed out right away. But the rest of them started to fly up higher and higher. And the little birds started to get tired and they started to drop off. And higher flew the rest. And as the day went on, one by one, the birds would get too tired. They'd fly down. Maybe they'd get scared. They were so high. Maybe they decided, you know, I don't really want to be king after all. Until in the end, as the day neared its end, there were 5 left. High up in the sky soared red-tailed hawk. Beside her was pigeon and turkey vulture. Peregrine falcon soared up with them, and golden eagle. As they flew up there high in the sky, going higher and higher, pigeon got tired, and pigeon's like, you know what? I'm done. Good job, guys. I'll see you down. And pigeon started to circle back down towards the ground. Peregrine falcon had been flapping hard too. And she looked down at pigeon and thought, you know, maybe I'll break for lunch. And falcon tucked her wings and dove right straight at pigeon. The rest of them soared up higher and higher. Turkey vulture looking out across the world because they were so high they could see half the world. She saw some of her cousins. They'd found something to eat, and she thought, you know, I'd rather have lunch than be queen. And she started to fly off towards her relatives to get something to eat. And up went red-tailed hawk. Up went golden eagle, higher and higher into the sky. So high, they looked out across the world. They saw mountains no one had named, oceans no one had ever sailed. Things nobody to this day has ever found. But finally, it got to the point that red-tailed hawk said, that's it. I guess you're the queen, eagle. I can't keep up. And red-tailed hawk started to slowly drift towards the ground. Now, eagle was exhausted. She'd never flown this high, but she was pleased she'd won. And she started to just go up a little higher. It's all right, I've won. I guess I should head back down. And just then, in the feathers on her neck, she felt something move. Something moved. What is that? And from the feathers in her neck, a little tiny brown bird, a little tiny wren, wiggled up out of her feathers and flew straight up into the air. An eagle was like, "What? You're going to win." And she flapped, but she was too tired. She'd flown too high. And the little tiny wren fluttered in the air, 50 feet above her head, looking out over this huge, wide world. And Wren looked down at Eagle and, can I come back down? Can I come back and land on you again? And the eagle said, "Well, you're the king. It's up to you, whatever you say. You won. You flew the highest." And the little wren flew down and landed on Eagle's back. I was like, "Wow, that's scary up here." And the eagle was like, "Well, yeah, it's pretty high." So, Eagle, said the wren, I don't really think I want to be king. I mean, I just wanted to see what it was like to fly as high as an eagle. I just wanted to know, what is it like to be up here? And to be honest, it's kind of scary. So if it's okay with you, when we get back down to the ground, can we just tell everybody you won? And I'll hide in your feathers and nobody needs to know. And Eagle said, "Well, I mean, you are the king. If that's what you want, that's what I'll do." And so the little wren hid in Eagle's feathers, and she flew back down to the ground. And as she got close, the other birds started to fly up with her, and they all cheered, "The queen! The eagle is the queen!" And she never said a word, and neither did Wren. And they are the only ones who knew the truth, and now you guys do too, that the wren is the king of the birds. Now, the red-tailed hawk does not win that race, but she's in it. This is a bird that you guys can see circling up high in the sky. Red-tailed hawks are probably our most commonly seen hawks, which makes it weird to me that there aren't more stories about them. So what I would ask you guys to do, with the little bit of summer that you have left, get outside, find some cool things, see some awesome stuff, and make stories. We need a story about a red-tailed hawk. See if you guys can see one of these guys out there. Maybe you have. Did something cool happen? You've got a red-tailed hawk story. That's awesome. Because there are a lot of things out there, folks. All the things that no one knows about, they're all outside. Yeah. You saw a golden eagle. That's awesome. There's no golden eagles in here. To see a golden eagle, we got to go out there. And seeing a golden eagle in Vermont is pretty amazing. They usually only come through in the fall. More hands. And why don't we, guys, I know some of you probably want to head out, and I know it's hot in here. You've been sitting a long time. So I'm going to do a very quick kind of like wrap up, thank you for coming thing. Oh, look, I did it. And if you guys have any questions, we'll do some questions. And I know some of you want to see that screech owl who's not really part of this program, so I'll bring him out too, okay? But we don't have a lot of time. Well, okay, so when the snake swallows its food, like say the snake we had swallowed a chipmunk, which is about the biggest thing she can swallow, you would be able to see that chipmunk would get down in her stomach, and you'd be able to see a great big lump there. And then she'd slowly digest it. And with a snake, when they eat, and actually any cold-blooded animal, when they eat, most of that food goes to growing. So they'll grow for their entire life. With us, most of our food goes to keeping our bodies at 98.6 degrees because we're warm-blooded, right? So we need to burn that food up. So this is a screech owl. All of their stories are scary. Yes. Yes, he does have big eyes. The better to see in the dark with. Yes, ma'am. How did he get so cute? He was just born that way. Those little screech owls are something else. Go. No, we can't let you touch it. But on your way out, this is an owl wing. That's what he feels like. So you can pet it when you go out. So, any last questions before you guys have to load onto your bus? Wonder Woman. Yeah, that's right. A constrictor snake wraps, what she was saying was, a constrictor snake wraps around its prey and squeezes it. And that's what that corn snake does. World tours. Or world is yours. Go ahead.
There's Riley. Don't be disrespectful.
Why is he so tiny? Well, he's a boy. Girl owls are bigger than boys, so a big female screech owl will be about that tall. But there are owls in every size. This is the owl for eating mice and June bugs. Whereas a great big great horned owl would be the owl for eating mice and rabbits. And so we haven't talked to you much. Well, we've talked to the same people over and over. Go ahead, miss.
Like this. I want to get it higher. It could be a pet snake or a pet hamster.
Oh, don't do it. Snakes are terrible pets. So are hamsters. Get a dog. They're the best pet. Yes, sir. Good question. Why am I not using the glove for the screech owl? Because I forgot we just made a policy we have to use gloves for every bird. But with him, he's pretty mellow, and if he does decide to hurt me, he can put holes in me. His talons are sharp, his feet are strong, but they're also little. And he's a pretty good guy. He doesn't normally get upset about anything.
Did the snakes eat this? What about
Oh, hold on. Let's get him first. Go ahead.
the snakes eat rabbits?
If the snake is big enough, it'll eat a rabbit, yeah. But we don't have any snakes in Vermont who are big enough to eat a full-grown rabbit. Baby rabbits maybe, but not full-grown ones. Yep. Will a snake eat an owl? If it's a gutsy snake, it might, yeah. Owls are dangerous to get a hold of, though. They have sharp beaks, they have sharp talons, and most snakes aren't great tree climbers. They do that. Everybody poops. Don't you know that? Yeah, right there. Yes. Oh, this is a coyote fur. All right, off you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys.